Hey, this is AJ with Effect Radio, and I'm excited to have with me singer, producer, songwriter, lead singer for the rock group that is heard in our current rotation with some of their newest hits, and of course, on Throwback Thursdays with a popular request, To Hell with the Devil. This is Michael Sweet from the band Stryper. Hello and welcome.
Hi, good to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have your album October 21st is coming out and is titled The Final Battle, which there was a rumor that would be your last album, but that's not the case, correct?
Well, as far as I know,
Yeah.
I'm not aware of our last album, but I always say in tomorrow's never promised, so you never know. But there are no plans of us stopping anytime soon, and we hope it's not our last album.
That is great news. I know a lot of people post on your Instagram kind of concerned that might be the case. So can you tell me, this album that's coming out, how does it compare to the other albums as far as the tune? How would you describe it on the what should listeners expect from this? Can you give them a little tease?
Well, musically, it's very similar. It has the signature Stryper, whatever you expect to hear, that's a signature Stryper sound. Things like background vocals, harmonizing dual guitar solos and rhythms, high screams that I do, my brother's style of drumming. It's got all that stuff that's signature. But at the same time, we're trying to some degree redefine ourselves and modernize ourselves without alienating our fan base of the past. We come from the 80s, so we want to retain that style, but at the same time, we want to try to step into 2022 and, somehow apply that as well without selling ourselves out or short. And I feel that we've been doing a really good job of that on the past 5 albums, especially starting with No More Hell to Pay and leading up to The Final Battle. We're very pleased with how things are going. Love how the albums are sounding. The fans seem to be as well. And we're super excited to see what they think about this album once it comes out as a whole and they can hear every single song in its entirety. Really excited.
Yeah, and along those lines, I wanted to ask you, because a lot of the Christian rock musicians that started out as rock have kind of morphed into more of the contemporary Christian music. And I really respect that Stryper has held on to the metal rock side, even in the songs that you might say are a little softer or acceptable for radio play, are still clearly rock. How have you withstood the tells of time to keep producing Christian rock?
Well, I mean, everybody knows where I stand on that term Christian rock. I've never really understood that term. We're a rock band comprised of Christians.
I agree, yeah.
We are Christians. We are believers. We have a deep faith, and we're so honored to be able to tour the world and share that with people. And it's such a blessing. God's really blessed the band over the years, and we're looking at almost 40 years, and it's pretty amazing that the band is still thriving and still doing really well. We just performed at 2 sellout crowds in Costa Rica and Colombia. And whenever I go out on the stage and I see that, I'm in awe. I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, like, how is this possible? This is amazing. And that's a God thing. It's incredible.
That is amazing. Well, Effect Radio plays a lot of Christian music, and we are the same. Like, we don't just stick with the Christian labels, and a lot of people don't appreciate us doing that, but we do what you say. We play Christians that are performing, and I mean, lyric wise, Stryper has always been very, back to, To Hell with the Devil, like very in your face lyrics that a lot of the Christians in the Christian music scene would be like a little horrified at to a point.
Totally. And that's what I mean. We don't hold back at all. We're
Hmm.
probably one of the boldest bands ever. You know, when you termed a Christian rock band, a lot of people who aren't Christians aren't going to come see you. They're not going to come see you. So isn't that what we're here to do, is to reach people that aren't Christians? So why would you want to limit yourself to, by saying we're Christian rock band? It's awesome to hear you say that you guys are doing the same thing. And again, it's not to discredit what we stand for, who we stand for. We are firm believers in Christ, and we're so proud to stand for Christ.
I wanted to run by you along those lines. The Jesus Music documentary and book that came out. Within that, there was actually a little quote there that I'll just read out to you along those lines. It says, Stryper had all the impact of the Old Testament God. They seemed easily capable of hauling you up to the mountaintop and sacrificing you. They dressed like killer bees, whipped Bibles at their fans, and slayed a lot of demons. Do you have anything like to comment on that? Because I thought that was kind of a bold statement, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah, bold statement. I mean, Stryper was certainly not the norm. We broke down all barriers. Any day that went along with quote unquote Christian rock band, we were not that.
Yeah.
And you can look at a video of us performing at the Dove Awards, GMA, back in 1995, and you know, I'll never forget the look on some of the people's faces when we performed. It was like that deer in the headlight look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what's going on with Stryper. All I know is God's used us and continues to use us in a powerful way to reach those that need to be reached. And that's all that concerns me. And we're going to keep doing it until God tells us to stop.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the point when we are here at Effect Radio as well, because like I said, we don't necessarily play the Christian contemporary music. Obviously, we play Stryper. We play today is Throwback Thursday, so we go as far back as Larry Norman, and some of those lyrics would be not very accepted by the contemporary music of today. So I totally agree. We're trying to reach people that normal Christian music wouldn't be reaching, and that's the point.
I love it. I love it. You know, no disrespect, but I stomach cookie cutter anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see a band come out, Christian or not, that it becomes very popular, and then you see 100 other bands come out that are cut from that same cloth, and the labels are pushing for that because it's what's popular. I'm going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
That's how I'm a rebel. I always have been. And I was in school from the time I was a little child to now. And I swim in the opposite direction of whatever direction the large group is swimming. And it's just how I'm made.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that because, like I said, we have tried over the years as much as possible to keep a Christian music format that is rock driven and not necessarily just, like you said, not necessarily Christian rock, but rock performed by Christians.
Right, exactly. I write from the heart, and the music that I do is what I feel inspired to do. I never listen to another artist and say, I'm going to write a song like that just because it's number one on the radio. That's not how I do things. And I experienced that being told no, because it wasn't cookie cutter. And my advice to anyone listening as an artist out there is be yourself. Don't follow the trend. Break the molds. And eventually, I think the voice will be heard. Your songs will get played. And it's important to break those molds. And that's not just Christian, but that goes for mainstream radio too. They always play the same songs over and over again. And there's so many great bands and great songs out there that deserve to be heard and deserve to be played.
Yeah, I appreciate that viewpoint. Taking you back to the 80s, the MTV, I believe you guys started getting played on MTV because the fans kind of demanded Stryper on there, and it was requests, I believe.
So true. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They wouldn't play our videos because Stryper was different musically and lyrically, and they wouldn't play our videos. So what happened was they started this thing called Dial MTV, and it allowed fans to call in and request their favorite video by their favorite bands. And we started getting more requests than any other band on there, and we beat out Bon Jovi, Poison, Motley Crue, and we went all the way to #1. And we were the first and I think only band to have two videos in the top 10 at the same time. And we had multiple #1s, and that was based on the fans, letting the fans speak instead of the program directors speak.
Yeah.
And those molds were all broken, and it's kind of proving what I'm saying, that what matters is the fans and what the fans want to hear and what they want to see. And that was proof pretty much to me that wow, the fans are what matter. It doesn't have anything to do with the program directors, because Stryper will never get a lot of airplay on radio.
Hmm.
Just not in the cards.
Yeah.
But they took a lot of radio stations took a chance and played us. They might be surprised at the response.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're one of those radio stations. So, and
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's interesting because especially Throwback Thursdays, probably one of the top requests we get is for To Hell with the Devil, which is one of those songs that you're like, okay, should we play it? Should we not play it? I'm like, it's a request. We're going to play it.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
A lot of our songs are a little bit on the controversial side. Mm-hmm. Our sound, the controversial side, our look, everything about us.
Yeah.
And I get it. If people want to be cautious and careful, and they don't want to break the mold too often because they can get in trouble, and those people that support them financially or what have you might pull back. I know how it all works, mm-hmm. and I understand. But at the same time, we appreciate stations like yourself playing it. That's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what do you have for upcoming shows? You got some shows coming up?
We've got the Kiss Cruise we're going out and doing in the next few weeks. And we're doing a couple shows at the Whiskey. We had a sellout show, so we booked the second night at the Whiskey Go-Go in LA. And we're doing a Mexico run, a few festivals in Mexico with some big bands, Judas Priest and Megadeth and Kiss and a bunch of different bands. And then we come home and we take the holidays off, and then we hit the ground running. We're making a documentary next year, a lot of shows on the books for next year, and the new album coming out, of course, October 21st, The Final Battle, this year.
That's great. Excited to hear that new album. I know I got kind of pre-listened to it thanks to you guys sending it in, and I'm excited to have it released so we can spin a little more of those tunes. We do have a lot of Stryper fans that actually listen to The Effect. I met one. We did one event, and I always ask listeners, what's your favorite band? And he said Stryper, so I think he'll be excited for for that. But we have a lot of listeners that do enjoy hearing you guys' music, so I think they'll be excited.
It's so great. I mean, if we have one fan out there that we've helped and inspired and encouraged, it's so worth it. And the great thing is there are many out there, many Stryper fans, and we're so happy for that. And we're knocking on 40 years' door.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me. It blows my mind when I think about it, that we're still here and still going.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, what would you say, what's your favorite song, both like back in the 80s and current? What's your favorite to perform live?
Wow. Well, I would say the classic song, I'd probably go with maybe something like More Than a Man.
Okay.
To Hell with the Devil, always like a whole different level. I mean, when we break into that, the crowd erupts.
Yeah, that's your
New,
song.
New Songs is a song, if you haven't heard it yet, you've got to hear it and you maybe play it. I think people will love it. And live, it always goes over amazingly well. And it's a song called Yahweh.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
That one is the new standard and a staple in our set for sure.
That's great. Well, I'm super excited for the new album. What is one message that you would like to leave with the fans that are listening?
Well, I think it's important for us to, when we put our feet on the floor every day, say a prayer. It could be a short prayer, it could be a long prayer. I think if we start our day with prayer, this world will be a much better place. We'll be better people, and it'll change the world. Getting people to do that is the whole other thing, and it's very difficult, but it's important for us to put God first in everything that we do, and that's the message of Stryper. And that's what we're trying to convey through the music and through the lyrics, and that's what this album basically has to say. It's a message of Christ and a message of faith, and hopefully someone will hear it that doesn't, follow God. Someone will hear it that may start following God. And the more people we slowly, reach, the better. And that's why we're here, and that's what we're all about.
Again, check out their album that's coming October 21st. It's a powerhouse album, probably one of their best of their career. We'll find out October 21st. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. God bless you guys. See you later.